many men on as many guns for as long as possible. We called him Doc. Welcome to Combat Vet Vision. And now your host, Aaron Chief Sievers.
Hey, how's everybody doing? Welcome to my show. Hey, this is Combat Vet Vision, brought to you by SitchRadio.com. Brian Colburn up here running the show from many different places, many different ways. But this show is an opportunity for combat veterans to get some help, support in different directions, families, different things like that. Combat vets tell their stories. This is my opinion and different ways of telling it. Through not only my eyes, but other combat veterans, our sponsors, supporters, and volunteers. They get a chance to come on here and tell their opinion on different issues. And today we're going to talk about Brotherhood of Warriors and what that means to some of us and what that means to myself. My guest tonight is Michael Amato, a good friend of mine. He's been around for a long time. He's been on here twice already. This is his first live show. He's going to be on here with me talking about this a little bit. This was kind of an idea that came to him, and he just kind of wanted to throw it out there a little bit more and give some better scope on things. So, Mike, how you doing?
Doing pretty good. How you doing, buddy?
Good. Mike, you're coming to us from where?
Oh, I'm in Mount Carmel, Tennessee, which is the east side of Tennessee. Yep.
Nice. But you spent most of your time in California doing all kinds of stuff, and then you came out to Tennessee.
Yeah, decided to come out here a few years back, start a job with somebody, didn't work out. And I just said, you know what, this is better than California with their stupid laws. And so I'm going to go ahead and make my life here. And I've made one hell of a life out of it. I've got a house and everything where I would not have this if I was in California with the financial standing you must have to make it there, you know.
Right. And you came to me, you and I talk a lot. We talk a lot about a lot of different things.
Yeah.
And you kind of wanted to come together with this idea of, a lot of people talk about the Brotherhood. A lot of people talk about what it means. And specifically, you want to bring up what it means to you, and what it means to maybe a lot of other people and ourselves. So let's talk about it for a while. What are you thinking about?
So really it's what is the actual standard was my main thing. There's my personal standard, and everybody has their opinions, but what is it that keeps you going with this brotherhood of yours, and that's, I want this to be as open with everybody else. I want you guys to comment if you're listening to this, or even if you're not listening to it right now, you listen to it a week, month, 5 months down the line. I'd like you to blow up Combat Vet Vision's Facebook and say your opinions on the matter underneath this. The thing is there's a lot of vets out there, and we all have our opinions, and we all live to a certain standard, whether it's discipline or physical fitness of some kind, or family values. What is it that makes you want to love your brother and be there for him? I joined Warrior Built many years ago now, right? I want to say it's over 7, and it was something that said, hey, you can't even show up until you are at this caliber of a person. That's how you explained it to me, and I was messing up. We've in several other podcasts, check them out, where we were talking about my mistakes in life and my story. But really, what is brotherhood? Obviously that's loving that person next to you. You never knew that person when you joined the Army or the Marine Corps, the Navy, or the Air Force, Coast Guard, whatever. You didn't know that person, and you got to know that person over time, and you spent a lot of time with them, more time than your own family, and you love that person. Why is it that we have so many people that love veterans? Well, it all stems from this brotherhood. It's not just the mission. Wars come and go. We just had the Afghan war end, and I'm kind of happy it ended. Wish it didn't end the way it did, but hey, what the hell? Had to end. And what are we leaning on now? What makes the world revere and love us? It's really the first person they see, which is a brother in arms, and how they carry themselves over there, and how they carry each other. We don't leave a brother behind. We didn't do that when we ended the war in Afghanistan. We took everybody that we needed to. Maybe we got some people we're working on still getting out, but we're not leaving them behind. And we also have a lot of brothers that we shy away from. I once was one of those guys. And why is that? Why is it that there's so many of them? These are the questions really that kind of stem from this idea that I had the other night.
Yeah, that's you put a lot in there, and you're right. The questions are super important. Why do we stick together? And each one of us has to answer that in many different complicated ways. Little tiny quirky things that pull us together to, hey man, I'm gonna step out for this guy. I got this one, or this guy needs a call tonight. I'll take it, or you'll
A
take
lot
it,
of baggage.
or
A lot of baggage. It's a lot
it
of
is a
drama.
lot.
I mean, you look at mental health stresses in America. The way I like to break it down is that you have this plate sitting on a table, and that's your table, and that's your plate. And anybody else, they got to eat, you know, that plate every day. You have to eat that food. Well, what happens when you eat too much food or too much bad food? You get sick, right? So that's mental health issues to me and how I break it down, especially when it comes to PTSD. You eat too much bullshit, you're going to end up becoming this sick person walking around. And that's what the mental health stress is. And then when you lean on a brother that can pull you out, he's taking part of that crappy food that you've been eating and he's eating. So how is it that he can carry that weight on him? I mean, other term is baggage. Too much weight on your back, breaks your back. But like, why do you love me? Why is it that, about two and a half, well, no, probably about a month ago now, sorry, I had a Gold Star wife call me, and she, I've got him right here, Sergeant Roberts, and why'd she call me and say, hey, I barely know you, I only know you through Facebook, but you're one outstanding person, you're part of this brotherhood, you were his brother. Me and that guy, man, we hung out, never. It was a job to be infantry. He was in a different platoon, but every time we walked past each other, we were nothing but polite. And he taught me a lot. Any chance he could, whether it was him leading the class or whatever, he would be right there in it. And that guy was the guy that I'm pretty sure could pick me up and throw me on his back, even though I weighed a lot more than he did. And it's that's what makes me question brotherhood and the standards of brotherhood. What is that standard? And let's get into that. Let's talk about standards. What would make you where's your like moral high ground, Chief? And where's your moral low ground with somebody? When you're assessing somebody, where is that? So
Yeah.
let's start with the low ground and then we'll work to the high.
All right. And we talked a little about this, and the low ground to me, um, being a corpsman, being a medical guy, seeing these guys that come in for different reasons or that need something for different reasons. And you got the low ground, which is the guy that comes in, maybe alcoholic, doing drugs, and he's got a mission on himself that is he's in a groove and he's on it, and there's no ground for him to move, meaning there's no advice he's going to take. You talk about the low ground. He's in a rut. He's not hit rock bottom, but he's just pushing his limits, and he's not ready for the help yet. And what I mean by that is, when you talk about high ground, it basically means that I'm gonna care about you as much as you care about yourself, and I have to set kind of my own standards so that I don't over involve myself into someone's life and push them in a direction that they're not going to go anyway. No matter how much, even in combat, there's guys you can't save no matter how much gear you use. And even if you used everything in your bag, he's still not going to make it. That's not a guy that you can save when you got 10 other guys laying around that are bleeding out. They're going to die without your intervention. So you have to pick and choose these guys that can help themselves in life. And, it's just opening up and being there for that person that is, somewhere past that low point. The low point is like, hey, you're not going to be able to save this guy. He's got a million excuses. He's a professional victim. He's dealing with all these different things. He's not ready to move. He's not ready to move forward in that positive direction, whatever that might look like.
Right.
You know, and
So he's like
he won't.
content. I'm sorry, but like content to being at the bottom. You know, um, I,
Yeah.
I I agree with that. You know, we've had guys in Warrior Belt, right? A lot of people come into Warrior Belt and they think that we're going to carry them to the finish line, and that's not true. That if you walk into Warrior Belt and you're a drug addict, for one, we're going to tell you need to go and seek help. If you don't want to take that advice, you know, we'll obviously always let you come up and do the group meetings and get some stress off your back. But I mean, you're not going to be involved in these fun things. Worry Build is the after treatment program, you know, so that you're not ever going back down to that bottom again, you know. And I can say this right now. I know sergeant majors, lieutenant colonels, don't know a general yet, but I've met so many people that have fallen on their face, you know. And what makes me want to walk away from somebody is their, like you said, the inability to listen. You know, I mean, you need to be willing to admit publicly, I would say, to your fellow brother, sorry, exactly that what is wrong with you. You need to look in the mirror before you even do that and say, man, I'm a fuck up, you know. And I've had to do that. I've got an anger issue. It comes out, and I've worked on it, and I've made huge progress, but I still got a long ways to go. And in the brotherhood, you know, you got these people that'll carry you, but how far will they carry you? You know, you can only carry somebody so far, too. And that's my other thing. I will try to carry you. I will say, hey man, I've been there. You know, hey man, we can get you off these drugs. We got a treatment program we can send you to. And then you know what? Hey man, there's Camp Hope you can go to if you're open to it. There's VA programs we can help get you listed in them. You know, we can get you where you need to be to where you can come back to us if you really want to be with us, you know. And a lot of the times though, we've had to write people off. I remember a few guys. Remember me being kind of the self-written guy and worry about to sit there and tell you, man, this guy ain't the one, dude. He ain't gonna make it, you know. And you're like, nah, man, nah. And I'm like, dude, you're not seeing what I'm seeing. You need to you need to pay more attention to this guy. This guy is like you said, the professional victim. You know, you have everybody has battles. I don't care what relationship you're in with your lady, you're gonna have problems. You know, I'm no different than you. We're no different. We're all dealing with situations. There's never a perfect life. We look and watch TV, and man, it looks perfect. But that's acting. Those are actors. That's why the hell they get paid so much, because they're selling you bullshit, really, smoke and mirrors. You know, but the brotherhood isn't that. You know, and we need to look and dissect it a little more, because we're having a lot of guys that we're turning our backs to. And not just me and you, Chief, but what I'm saying is I'm speaking to all of you guys. Okay, whether I've sat there with Navy SEAL guys. I hung out with a bunch of you down in Baja. I've sat down with a guy that is what the hell you call damn Navy, not Navy, Marine Corps sniper. I've sat down and talked to one of them, you know, and they all are willing to turn their back, sometimes more than the next. And that's the thing. There's no like written rule in this, but I kind of want to write a rule, and I'd like everybody to post their comments on it whenever they get a chance and say, this is what I've done in their experiences with brothers who have fallen on their face. You know, you can't fix everybody. And you're not going to get along with everybody. You know, in my unit, I was the guy nobody wanted to be around. If they knew me now, they'd probably all love me, but they didn't love me then. You know, I was young, hyper, dumb, and running around trying to stick my dick in everything. You know, so it's hard, and you let these people slip. But now let's switch to like the high ground, solely high ground. We don't need to talk about the logo. All right.
All right.
So
Hey, Mike, yeah, we'll get into the high ground, and then I'll talk about the. Just you know what? Wait. Let's talk about this real quick before we go to the high ground.
All right.
You know, and the reason why Mike has this connection with a lot of the guys is because he would come to Warrior Build, he would come to Warrior groups, he would be involved in a lot of different things. But me as a guy that's representing Warrior Build or the PTSD Foundation, I have this like figurehead piece where I might not be able to see every individual the way that I need to see them, because like Mike says, it's smoke and mirrors, because guys are hiding things and they come up with stuff, and and the big challenge for me a lot of times was to not, expose Mike for bringing this to any of attention, or, because the Brotherhood is like saying, hey man, this guy's got a real problem with this. He's maybe not talking about it, whether that be heroin or other issues or alcoholism, or he's hiding some dark secret. And like Mike said, pulling these secrets out and letting them out in a way that's safe, in an environment that's safe, and being able to talk to it in a way that you need to and want to, super important. Not all the time can we do that, and it takes a little while to get to that position. And when I talk about it, it's these groups, it's this camaraderie, it's this brotherhood, like Mike's saying. But I can't always see everything, and so having these other sets of eyes, hey, this is why we got to look out for this guy, is super important. The more I know, the better off I can deal with them, and the better off they can deal with themselves, because then they got to face some of that music when it's brought up, and it's brought up in a way that doesn't necessarily say, hey, Mike said something about this. It's just, then I get to say, hey, I noticed this under these circumstances. Let's talk about it and see if they're forthcoming. So I just wanted to point that out, Mike, and that this is why you have that ability to be in a place where I'm not always there, and
Right.
you've been that way. You've been that way for a long time. Whether it's a new guy that I need to talk to on the phone, and you send me a phone number and a guy's name and say, hey man, this guy needs some help. See what you can do to talk to him. So you want to talk the high ground?
Also let's before we get to the high ground, by the way, this ain't scripted. So you see us stopping each other and everything. We're vets. We come up with ideas and we vomit them out sometimes. But really, like, we're dependent on each other. I know for a fact you're dependent upon me. I know that you no longer worry about me like you used to. We'd spend 3-4 hours on the phone and you'd be telling me about how, man, you're supposed to be doing this and you're supposed to be doing that. And then I'll be like, dude, shut the hell up. Like, I'm doing this. You need to give me credit for this. But that's called correcting each other. That's called standing and being a brother, because there ain't no way we're getting to this finish line of life without each other. We've admitted we need each other. And that's what Warrior Build to me has always been. Whether Nick Ham wants to admit that or not, we always need each other, and that's why we come together. And it's a beautiful thing. But and also to say, for the next vet circle, right? Because we're our own little circle, right? But the next vet circle, they do the same thing. You got to know who's coming in here. I got to know this guy. We've lost 2 people, man, racing, and I don't need to be down there, in the machete, and this guy's driving and I'm doing nav, and we can't cohesively work. We're screaming, we're yelling. I mean, the guys get heated down there. And you know what? I almost died personally. We took a turn, and that turn, we didn't make it in enough time, and we almost flew off cliff. So I know I wouldn't have lived. That was over 100-foot drop. So this fun game, this fun thing that we do, and all these sponsors and everything, it's really, screw them. I mean, it's about the guy next to you and that beauty of getting ourselves to that finish line and that release that we need, and also outside of all that crap, what we're doing. I mean, me and Chief, we've 7 years have not gone a month without talking. Several other guys of Warrior Build, guys that are no longer members of Warrior Build, decided to move on, branch, do their own thing. That's fun. The whole point of Warrior Build wasn't to keep me. Nick will tell you flat out, he wishes I could go happily live my life, but sorry, you ain't getting rid of me. I love it too much. But
hey, Nick Ham, just for the disclaimer, a couple things Mike has said. Nick Ham, president of Warrior Build Foundation, doing stuff, and the bug team, the bug race team, the bug's name is Machete. Just to cover some of those things that people might be wondering about Mike on that. And And one more thing, Mike, I just want to throw this out there. And I know Mike, we're talking about Warrior Build and the PTSD Foundation. These are things that are very common to him and I. But understand, there's other organizations doing phenomenal things out there, and we're not taking anything away from that. You guys are doing this too. You're dealing with whatever politics you're dealing with, the high grounds, the middle grounds, the low grounds of veterans that you're dealing with, or things that you're involved with. Super important out there. Should you want to talk about that, should you want to bring them up, and Mike and me we talked about that before the show. There's a lot of other organizations, a lot of other people out there doing some stuff, and it's just as important for you guys to talk about this brotherhood and what it means and what it's all about too. So feel free to get on my show and do that, or do it in your own podcast. I mean, there's a bunch of things going on out there, so we're not the only rodeo
we aren't. There's
on the
plenty
agenda.
of them. MCs were created by the Brotherhood idea. There's a million and one nonprofits nowadays that are doing amazing things. I've dealt with many of them. Operation Silver Star is one of them. I think that's one of the most amazing organizations I've ever dealt with. They've came there when I've thrown myself against the wall, and keyword myself, and they said, "Here, let me peel you off the wall there, guy. Let me get you back out there." But like the beauty of it all is brotherhood, and why we do it. We do it because we need each other. That's for me, right? I don't know if you agree with that, and I'm talking about the viewer. I don't know if you agree with that, but there might be some other reason. It might be, you might have had a family member that served, and that's why you jump into this. You might revere us in some sort of way. I've had people treat me like I was famous, and I'm not. I'm a nobody. Yeah, I'm in the history books, but comparatively, I'm no great man. And it's awesome to know how many people come together. I've met people that don't ever want to join Warrior Build, and they're brothers to me out here. I've got a guy named TJ. He's a Marine infantry. Forget his particular unit. We stay in contact. We're always communicating if we're stressing, whatever. He's dealing with COVID. I hope you recover soon, buddy. Then there's several other people. But yeah, let's get back to it. Let's talk about like the high ground, like that guy that comes in that's really like wanting to better himself, because see, with me and Chief, we're always about progression. If you're not moving forward, what are you actually doing? You're running backwards, whether you think you're standing still or not. But yeah, go ahead, Chief.
Yeah, the high ground, man. These are the guys that come in that right off the bat that say, hey, this is an awesome organization. These are awesome things. What can I do to help? I want to be part of it. And thinking of an example is Maurice Garcia, and I had him on my show, Veterans Helping Veterans. He's a guy that's willing to, take you in and get your benefits all squared away. He's got a lot of resources himself. You talk about the guy, he's still dealing with a lot of things, but he still wants to be part of things. A lot of times other guys that come in and they say, hey, what can I do right off the bat? And I'm like, hey, before you help, take some time, soak in what's going on here, because this is a train, it's moving down the tracks, and figure out where you want to be. Because, I think about Tony Hagar, who came in too, and he started the softball team, for instance, and he was really pushing for that. And he's made steps to he's basically a sideline sponsor at this point, with a lot of guys that he's brought on to make a difference. One of his bosses gave a bike to Warrior Build and some other stuff, and so you think about these guys that are combat veterans that are dealing with things too, but they're also along the way, they also can help. They're a force multiplier to everything that's going on, and they're willing to still try something, and everybody comes through those doors like, hey man, what can I do to help? And it's like, well, you can go into that Monster refrigerator and pull out a Monster if you want right off the bat. You can help yourself to that. And then
you can help police call. You can help us clean this place.
Yeah, there's guys like that, right?
I painted the dang
painting the building, all these things.
Yeah.
But let's talk about you for a minute, Mike. We've talked about you in the past. You've come up with your story. You started out as this angry dude, lost in a lot of different ways. depressed, down in your luck, all kinds of things that kind of piled on your doorstep. But you slowly crawled your way out of that, and then you got to the point where, and I think Alan Chadwick puts this the greatest way, is like, everybody needs at the beginning warrior build, but you want to get to a point where you don't need it anymore. You just want it. And that's the brotherhood, right? That's knowing that you got a battle buddy at some place somewhere, but you're on your own program, man. You said, hey, I'm going out. I'm gonna go spend time with my son. You always had that as a goal. And I mean, there was times I almost didn't believe in you, like, okay, but you got all these problems, you got all this stuff, but dude, you went down this fucking road and drove to
Let's
Texas
be honest,
and
you
drove
did
out.
that for a while. You really thought I wasn't going to do it. Let's just be honest. But I also gave reasons to that. So it's
And,
22.
and yeah, and you look at all these cool things, right? So where, what is it that makes the brotherhood so cool is like you coming up to me and be like, hey, Chief, you want to do this thing with the brotherhood? I'm like, hell yeah, man, let's do it. And I'm like, it's my show, but we're going to kind of make a series of it and kind of pull this out and talk about it more in the future too, and just kind of relinquish, just kind of let it flow however it flows, right? Because this is not scripted. There's things that are involved. We got a lot of history, a lot of stories, a lot of things we can talk about. And then I gave a big picture of you. You talk about, you're one of the goofiest motherfuckers I know, man. I mean, if you look at some of the crazy stuff you put on, and and you would almost think that you're almost out of your mind. But the truth of the matter is that
Probably am.
we want to be able to come together and talk about things sometimes where maybe society isn't going to understand us. Maybe they're not going to get it. Maybe they're not going to fully grasp it. But where you have the ability to talk and release the mindset the way that you want to in a controlled environment that still validates everything that you've done in your life.
Well, I've learned.
And
I've
it's not
learned,
and it's not to be judged. It's
no,
not.
no, no.
But it's to be like, you should be proud of yourself where you are. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
I
And
am. I wake up every day, man. I wake up every day very proud of everything that I've been able to make. I walked out of a job recently. I don't hate that job personally. I don't hate any of the people there. I'm glad that management and
started
I.
another one immediately the next 2 days later.
Yeah, right. Cutting up a tree that fell down in front of my house. Yeah, but I mean, for me, really, it's been the brotherhood that has allowed me, and that's why I wanted to talk about it. You hit a real chord on that. It's been the fact that why won't I allow myself to fall back to where I was? The thoughts are there when the stress gets there, man. Just the other night I was stressed out of my mind, but I reached out and had a guy that has been extremely successful in life. I don't know him, but he reached out to me and said, "Hey," in this group, and said, "Hey, man, I want to talk to you. I want to talk about reasons why you think you're not successful." And you know what he did? He painted a picture towards success. It's really you, the person, or me, that has to drive ourselves to to get us there. I cannot carry you for however long you're going to be alive. That I'm sorry, I'm getting older. I might look like a big, strong guy, and I am pretty strong, but it's as the years go by, I'm getting weaker. So I can't always do that for you. Can't always feed you all that crap, right? But really, it's man, the brotherhood has kept me morally sound. It has kept me thinking about morals and values on a day-to-day basis. I mean, I was working on a temper line where it was god awful. The loud noise of hearing glass hit a quench, is so excessive. Excuse me, here I have email. Uh, but it's so excessive, and not just that, the heat. You've got over 900 degrees in that oven, and you've got to quench this hot glass that melts down to like cheese on a cheeseburger, hits it, hardens back up. And I was the guy breaking it out. I was the guy running and loading cases. The factory work ain't always easy. And it got to me. And, I am a disabled person. I can't sit there, and I will argue this with anybody. PTSD does not necessarily go away. It becomes controllable because you learn how to control it. but you are forever changed. Now, there is guys out there that'll be cold-hearted, man, it's mind over matter, and you can just destroy that matter and it's gone. Cool, buddy. But, I also knew my grandfather, who was a Korean War POW. That man still dealt with issues, and he was a business owner. He was extremely successful. Doesn't mean you can't be successful. Doesn't mean you can't do good things. But you're going to always have those issues, and you need that brotherhood to carry you through. My grandfather stated flat out, don't talk to a civilian about your problems. Talk to a vet, because a vet was there, whether he was in your unit, sitting there with you. It doesn't mean shit, But really, for me, it's been that okay, if this is the standard and this was my low, and I'm here now, we're only going to fall here. We're never going to go back down here. And if I do fall back down to there, we're going to run back to where I was comfortable. To sit there and say that I left my job, but I'm still paying my bills, I'm still figuring everything out, still working. I have several side jobs I'm doing right now, and in the about to start a business, lawn care business, looking for investors. Hey, what's up? But it's that moral high ground, and that's where I want to be. I don't want to be a snob. I've had actually people sit there and say I was snobby, Chief. Can you believe that? Like I'm some rich snooty guy that looks down upon people all day long. You're a piece of crap, like, nah, man. Nah. If I can't help you, then I can't help you. I can't change you. You want to make these decisions, it's on you. That's your bad laying it, but I refuse to quit. I refuse to quit, and I refuse to quit on my brothers. They refuse to quit on me. I've had issues with my truck. Good God, I should probably get rid of it, but I'm too attached to it. It's got my damn dead dog's hair in it. So, that's another thing, and it fills me with joy. It fills that gap in my life. See, yeah, I moved away from Warriorville. I'm so far away. We barely ever talk, most of us, and but we're all still pushing each other. When we do talk, it's man, what's new? That's awesome, man. That happened to you, man. I know you can get through it. So that keeps me going. And then family. I had a daughter, and I never thought I could handle a daughter, and man, she's gorgeous. She's amazing. She's going to do great things, and I've got to show her what a real man's about. So I've got to push myself even harder. So that again leans back on the brotherhood. Hey, all you other guys that are vets with PTSD, how are you dealing with a daughter, dude? Because I'm already, she's 5 months old, and I'm already looking at other babies going, "I'll kill you, bro." Like, don't look at my daughter, man. Like, but that's that macho mentality that I have, right? And I'm working on myself. But I mean, it's it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing to be a part of it. I know that I won't be forgotten so easily. If you're that guy that never did anything with your life, you never cared to literally do anything to be remembered, then you're not going to be remembered long. I hate to tell you the truth, but you need to push yourself. You need to throw yourself out there. And your pack, your tribe is your tribe, and you need to be a part of it. Whether, I'm not saying go join the military, but I'm saying your tribe is your tribe, and you need to push it, and they need to push you, or you need to find a new one. If they're not doing the same. This guy I spoke to the other day was talking to me about, man, if you talk to idiots, you're going to be an idiot, and that's true. That's why when I find out somebody that's going down a path and I tell them what's up, I'm not going to allow them to dictate my life or family. If you're a family member of mine and you're going down this path and you refuse to take a hand up, but you want a hand out, sorry, I'm not giving you that. I refuse it. Because that means now that plate I was talking about earlier, it's got your life's drama on it, and I've got to eat it every day. And I know for a fact, 100% permanent and total veteran of PTSD cannot be eating other people's crap and get away with it. My therapist at the VA would roll her head. So she'd be like, "What the hell are you doing? Mike, you know better." But yeah, let's talk about you and reasons why you care to do the things you do. I mean, you reached out to me. Well, I reached out to you, and then you continued to call me, but you kept me, man. You kept me on this far little leash. You're like, man, I'll talk to this guy once a week. Man, he's nutty. You know, I mean, shoot, you didn't believe 90% of the crap I told you until you finally sat at a pub and the guy sitting next to you was like, yeah, man, he sells his pee to me. And we sell it to the medical community. And you're like, wait, what? Like, you know,
Hey man, you had some bizarre stuff, right? But hey, we'll get into that. You know, we got to close this session down. You know,
no,
and we'll get into that one too, man, as to why it is that that I do this, and what it is about it, and it is it's the brotherhood, man, and it is you know, and even me, I have to keep things, like I said, you know, boundaries. We'll talk about boundaries. We'll talk about, like you're talking about, how much food you can put on that plate, and we'll talk about some of these things in the future here. One of the big ones too you brought up is that you're not a hero. You know, I say that a lot. I'm not a hero, but I play one in real life every once in a while, and that's only because, you know, sometimes society needs us to be heroes, and they need you to, you know, be the guy that's talking on behalf of the army tonight, or whatever it is, right? So
yeah.
we'll talk about that a little bit. But before we close out, Mike, I'm gonna let you close it out. Well, you know, and I'll close it out after you. But if you got anything else to say, you know, the show notes has a lot of information on it. If people want to get a hold of you, you know, throw all that stuff out there, Mike. Any last words for this particular night and this particular day, and we'll go with it.
Hey, I'm going to put it like this. I've got my life. I'm living it. If you guys are really trying to contact me, reach out to Combat Vet Vision and he will relay it to me. I want you guys to personally blow up Combat Vet Vision about your stories of brotherhood. I'd love to hear some positive and I'd like to hear some negative. I'd like to hear about what is hard for you to do, what you do day by day. Well, who are the people? You know, why don't you name some notables that have been there and stepped and pushed you in your life? You know, why is it that you do what you do every day? It does not matter if you are still in the service. You know, I don't care. If you work at McDonald's, man, you're doing something. Show me the positive. You know, let's show me a little of the negative. Let's together, let's show each other the morals and values that we have as a brotherhood that push us to carry us further. You know, I heard on another podcast about not a veteran saying, I can't talk about, you know, war and the struggles of war. Well, I can sit here and I can tell you public. Okay, this is as public as it gets. I got a camera in my face and I'm live on the internet. So this is forever in the world, right? I saw horrible things. I did horrible things. Okay, we were good men doing evil things over there. That's what war is. Don't send us to war if you don't want it, you know. And I came home and I was walking down looking at meat in the meat department, and that reminded me of children, you know. And it's hard to get by, but I get by because my brothers push me to. Because war is war, and we've got to deal with it because we're the ones holding it on our backs. You know, a president is there for 4 to 8 years. He's gone. Us vets, we're here till death, and then guess what? We got our young ones joining. You know, and I want to give a personal shout out to every single soldier and Marine and sailor and whatever other branch, Air Force, that was over there getting everybody out of Afghanistan, getting our brothers and sisters out of there, you know, interpreters and their family members. They are our brothers. They are our family. And you guys did an amazing job. That's not what the news is sitting there and saying, but somebody needs to say it. We are standing together and we will continue to stand together. This is what America is. The Brotherhood is America. There's no other America but that, you know, and it's whether or not you want to be a part of it and you want to be a positive person. So go ahead and blow up Combat Vet Vision on Facebook. Blow them the hell up. I want Chief mad at me for you guys commenting so much. All right. Thank you.
Hey, thanks a lot, Mike. Hey, this is my show, man. This is where guys talk about raw things, whatever it might be. And you know, this is Michael Amato on deck with me today. Hey, until next time, hey, this is Aaron Siebert, retired Navy Chief, signing off. Strength and honor. Out.